for the guys watching on YouTube right now, we just went through this whole fiasco. Larry has a really good camera, but he couldn't find it. Like last night or whatever, he's like, I can't find my camera. I'm gonna have to go in, and so he went and got like the cheapest camera he could find, like 20 minutes before this. So the audio's good, but the video's gonna be choppy.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Come On Man. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. You know what to do. If you guys are watching during the premiere on Mondays, sound off in the live chat. I'm usually in there while I'm editing videos, but you never can tell. But just do that. Otherwise, drop a comment below. Any comment will do. Your favorite emoji, doesn't matter. It all helps us in the algorithms. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Send a super chat. You guys can send a super chat. This isn't live, but if you ever send me a super chat during a pre-record, I get notifications of it, and I will give you a shout out on social media. So send us a super chat, even if it's a pre-record like this. Follow me on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I'm going to send you some free stickers. I've got Rule 0 stickers now. And then if you guys don't like stickers, it doesn't really matter. Get on the email list anyway, and I'll give you a list of 20 dating app openers. Right? These are guaranteed to capture a woman's attention in the first 7 words. So get on that. And if you guys do like the designs of the stickers, they're available on merch, right? Like t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, all that kind of fun stuff at merch.comeonmanpod.com. Check out the Practical Law of Attraction course, LOA.comeonmanpod.com. It's a mindset course. And if you get your mind right, everything else falls into place. Check out the Beer Club. I'm recording this literally right after Beer Club, the last Beer Club last week on August 17th. And man, what a great turnout. We were on the Beer Club for 2.5 hours. What a fun conversation we had. You guys are missing out if you haven't joined the Beer Club yet. It's only $10 a month. Join it. It's a good group of dudes. And you know what? Most guys just don't have an outlet where they can go and bring their problems to the boys. You know what I mean? They have no boys. Well, here's your opportunity. Okay. I'm putting it right in front of your face right now. You could be a part of the club, the Beer Club. It's only $10 a month. Be a part of the boys and come and join us. Last night, we talked about all sorts of stuff. Okay. All sorts of things. And we ran the gambit of conversation. All right. It was a great conversation. And like I said, 2.5 hours. So join the Beer Club. Beer.comeonmanpod.com. The links in the description. If you guys want any kind of coaching's available as well as at gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. And pretty much all of my offerings are available at gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. I'm putting everything on Gumroad now. It's just easier that way. All right. Joining me this week, guys. Joining me this week is my my actual shipmate. All right, Larry Beach. Larry Beach was a second-class petty officer when I showed up to the USS Shiloh. And man, we've been friends ever since. And he and I both were Swiss. We both sat Swiss watch, which is a surface, subsurface warfare supervisor watch. Man, long history between us. And we get into that. If you guys want to know what I was like during the Navy, stay tuned because we talk about all the Navy stuff. Back when I was on the USS Shiloh with Beach. And we get into that. Actually, Beach knows me before I got married. He knew me when I got married. He knew of my daughter. We talk about this in this episode. He met my daughter when my daughter was in my now ex-wife's stomach. That's how far Beach and I go back. So anyway, it's a good episode. We talk about sailor shit today. Oh man, we're not at the 8-minute mark. You guys are going to have to send super chats. We're going to have to send super chats because I'm already demonetized. But if you guys want to hear some fun Navy stories, stay tuned. I will bring you that right after these words.
Here's a harsh truth that everybody gets upset about online when I say it. They get upset because of their ego investment into the fairy tale idea of love and partnership. They get upset because of their ego investment into the idea that their woman is their best friend, their confidant, and they think that love will conquer all, and that their woman will be there through thick and thin. The truth is that as a man, your woman is hardwired biologically and psychologically to want you to be her rock. It doesn't work the other way around. Women do not care about your struggles as a man. They may think they care. They may even want to care. But her evolutionary DNA will not let her care. If you bring her your problems, she will lose attraction for you over time, and she will leave. Now, whenever I talk about this, people lose their minds and start talking about men unaliving themselves. The faster that men learn that women don't care about our struggles, the faster we'll save the lives of men. Men off themselves because of their own ego investments in the Disney fairy tale lie. And when that fairy tale goes up in flames, they get zeroed out and they end things. Men do need a proper outlet for dealing with their problems, but going to their woman isn't the answer. Men need a tribe. They need a brotherhood. That's why I created my beer club. It's a monthly virtual hangout for men only. It's a place where men can be men. It's a place where men can talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women. It's a place where they can go without having to worry about being called toxically masculine. It's a place where they can go to solve their problems. Because men solve problems. Women cause problems, you dig? Visit beer.comeonmanpod.com. That's beer.comeonmanpod.com to sign up.
All right, joining me this week for the podcast is my shipmate, Larry Beach, a founding member of the Filthy Fuckers Club. What's going on, brother? It's been a long time. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while, man. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
You're out in Japan now, huh?
In Japan, I work at it's Camp Zama. It's an army base that I've never heard of until I got the job offer. It was like, where do you want to send me? It's like an hour and 20 minutes from Tokyo.
Oh,
when
okay.
you for driving, but the driving is like maybe about 20 miles.
Okay. For the guys watching on YouTube right now, we just went through this whole fiasco. Larry has a really good camera, but he couldn't find it, and he's like last night or whatever, he's like, I can't find my fucking camera. I'm gonna have to go in, and so he went and got like the cheapest fucking camera he could find like 20 minutes before this. So the audio's good, but the video's gonna be choppy. It just bear with us here, but it's gonna be a good episode today. We got a lot of dirty sea stories today.
Oh my god. So filthy.
So do you remember the origin of the Filthy Fuckers?
I don't know. I know I had like a stack of manuals, visual training material, and people always come, hey, let me glue those pages up for you, borrow them and stuff. I'm like, just you can keep it.
just keep it.
Yeah.
No, I remember, and I don't know if he was the creator of it, but I distinctly remember the first time hearing it was from Keeter.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot him. Yeah,
Keeter.
Yeah,
I think, then I think maybe Gonzo was a filthy fucker.
Yeah. Oh my god. Keeter's he retired as a police officer. I think recently.
Oh, he's retired now, right?
I think so. Yeah. I got in I want to say North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Is that where in North Carolina?
Yeah. I knew that he when he got out of the service, he ended up going into the becoming a cop or something like that.
I'm
but
like, wow, good on you, man. I'm like,
I haven't talked to that guy since he left the Shiloh though. So we haven't been that close. But Gonzo, I'm still friends with Gonzo on Facebook. I'm friends with Casillas.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie? Oh, yeah. I think I see a bunch of stuff he put on there. He had like an accident at work and messed up his head or something. Is that the same one? Yeah,
I don't
think
know.
so.
I know that
I might be getting people mixed up though.
I think the last time I chatted with him, he found the podcast. Casillas and Gonzo both listened to the podcast. And which is funny because Casillas and I used to butt heads a lot. We used to butt heads a lot on the ship. I remember one time that son of a bitch came down to do wake ups. And he comes down, and this was when I had the bottom rack. He comes down and he's like, "Get the fuck up, Bauer!" And he kicks my rack, right? "Get the fuck up, Bauer!" And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And so then I was like, the next, because we did 6 on 6 off, so it was like, okay, well, my turn's next, fucker. So
right, payback's a bitch.
Yeah. So the next wake up call, I volunteered for that.
You're right.
I went down there and I kicked his rack. I was like, "Get the fuck up, Casillas!" And he came flying out of his rack and wanted to throw down right there in Burbank. And I was like, "You want to throw down after you started this shit, right?" Like,
right, yeah.
But when he left, he actually he was cool with me. Like I think we were in Puerto Vallarta. No, we were in Cabo. And I think that was like his last sort of port visit before he got out. And
Cabo was nice. Oh my god, I just remember drinking so much. I got a room and I just drank. I went to what was it, Cabo Wabo.
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool. And then I remember Casillas always talking about, "Let's go to Senor Frog. That's where it's at." I'm like, all right. But yeah, it was fun.
The first time I went into Cabo Wabo. So like for people that don't know, and I don't know if it's still there, but Cabo Wabo was Sammy Hagar's place. Like Sammy Hagar was 80s rock star. And he opened his own place down in Cabo San Lucas, and he had his own brand of tequila called Cabo Wabo Tequila. And when you walk into Cabo Wabo, it's like a restaurant upstairs, and it's very small, and it's like, this is Cabo Wabo, like, okay,
right. Yeah.
And so the first time I went there, I was like, people were talking it up, like, "Oh, that place is fucking amazing," and I'm like, it's literally just a restaurant. What are you fucking talking about? But then if you go through the back door and they go down the stairs to the club, it is fucking awful.
Oh, it's always through the back door every time.
But there was chicks like dancing in cages and shit, like, and it wasn't like I don't remember it being like,
let them out.
I don't remember it being like go-go girls dancing, but it was just like regular chicks. They just had cages, and chicks could get in the cages and fucking dance, So it was great. It was great.
It was, and the room I got for the little money that I had was awesome. It was like just a free vacation, basically, the ship takes you there and you just,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
I had shore patrol one of the days that I had duty there.
Oh my god.
And so I was walking around town doing the shore patrol thing, making sure sailors weren't being dipshits, and I walk into a fucking club. And I just walk in there, and of course you're wearing your working whites, and then you have your Dixie cup on, and I walk in there, and some chick is like drunk dancing on a table and sees me walking up and takes my hat and puts it on and starts dancing and shit. And I'm just like, "Give me my fucking hat," Oh, good times. Hey, look what I found. I went and dug these up in the garage.
I know you got those. I know. Swiss. I know. I don't even remember what's in there. I know you got them.
No foreign, just porn. Yes. So here, so this is the first one. This is the very first one.
Yeah.
And like we started this on, for the guys that are watching, there's these little like green logbooks, right? That the Navy has just a fuck ton of blank logbooks. And I remember it was McKenna. McKenna told me that they had some kind of like DDTR snake fucking log.
He's the one who did that?
He told me about them having a log on one of his deployments, and how they would just log like random shit that was happening around combat and stuff. And so I was like, why don't we do that? Because it's boring out there. Like people just have no idea. They think like the Navy just, like Pirates of the Caribbean, and it is. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there is a lot of swashbuckling. There's a lot of swinging over to other ships. There's a lot of sword fighting. Okay. But it's not like that every day. It's
not sword fighting. Sword fighting.
It's a lot of open ocean steaming and then nothing for days and days and days. And then you see one like Group 3 tanker out in the middle of the ocean. You're like, oh fuck, a contact! Like, and everyone goes nuts. Like, what's the CBDR? 3 miles.
Right.
Like, it's never going to even get close to us. Why are we even doing the math?
That's yeah. It's so boring. That's why that's why we smoked. I smoked a lot.
Yeah.
It's been like over 10 years I've quit. So
it
was out of boredom. Or you're on shift and you're like, I'm gonna take a smoke break because everybody goes, oh yeah, you're gonna take. But if you just say I'm gonna take a break, well, why? What are you doing?
You know what? Do you remember Toledo?
Yeah, I still talk to her.
No shit.
She's got 2 beautiful kids.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she is so awesome. Yeah.
Toledo, she was funny because she was in my rotation when I was Swiss, and she was getting upset because all these other guys got to go have smoke breaks and she never got to go have smoke breaks. And I go, well, Toledo, why don't you ask to go for a smoke break? And she goes, but I don't smoke. And I go, I didn't ask if you smoked. I said, why don't you go for a smoke break? And she's like, oh, so she would say, hey, can I go for a smoke? I'm like, sure. She'd go down to the computer room, check her email or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, play the game. Come on, Toledo. What the fuck?
Were you on the shift where she had, well, for those who don't know, her voice is like Hooks off of Police Academy.
Yeah.
Very kind of high pitched, reserved, like a little girl, like actual sounds like a little girl. So we, the ships, when we're in company with other ships, we do these trivia questions. So we create these questions based on our job and to help us study and stuff. And what we'll do is we'll go over our radio and talk to the other ship and ask them the questions, and then they'll come back with the answer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Toledo was the one on the radio that would ask the questions.
Yeah.
And one of the ships that we were doing the trivia thing with came back and they did this. They mocked her voice. They mimicked it over the radio, and our captain, I believe our captain heard it. He was listening, I believe, and I think, was it the watch soup, the server soup, all lost. They had to requal. People went to mast for it and stuff because Toledo's little voice, and Toledo's like, I don't know, what did I do? She was like, what did I do?
Yeah. She was such a naive girl at the time too. I used to call her Toledo Tubby because she sounded like fucking Poe, or something, like one of the Teletubbies. She legit sounded like a fucking Teletubby. But yeah, I remember she requested leave for Christmas, and on like the request shit to go on leave, you have to put your address, like where you're going, so that the Navy knows how to contact you in case like shit goes down, right? And she didn't know her home address, so she put down like over like 3 blocks down from the lake or some shit on her chit, and like I remember I think it was like God, who was it? Who's Old Balls? Is it
Haynes?
Cartwright, and I think it's and maybe oh God, he was a heavy set guy, friends with McKenna. I can't think of his name right now, but they were all sitting there. They're looking at the Stallman. Yes, Stallman. Stallman unfriended me when I got divorced.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he unfriended me on Facebook because he was like, Paul, you need to do whatever you can to make this work, because his wife had just recently died. And he was married.
That's in his feelings and his pain.
Yeah, and I don't know if he ever legally got married to her, but he was with the same like Filipino gal for like pretty much the whole time I knew him. And I guess she had passed away, and he was like pretty hurt by it. And so when he found out I was getting divorced, he was like, Paul, you got to do whatever you can to fix this. I was like, you don't understand, Stallman. Like, She filed for divorce. Like, I can fix this, you know?
Yeah.
And he didn't like my attitude about that and unfriended me, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Cartwright and Stallman, and like they're all sitting there going through the chits, and they were like, "What the fuck is this? Like 3 houses down by the lake? Like what the fuck?" They had to get Toledo back up to like fix it. It was pretty funny. So let's look at this. Let's look at this log, at least some of this, right?
Let's look at it.
So I just opened it up, right? This is closed here on Beer Day.
Do
you remember Beer Day on Westpac 2000?
I remember I gave up my 2 beers because I was an air controller, and the time frame that I have to have, you know, drinking the beer, I couldn't. So it's like, yeah, go get your 2 beers, and then here you go. You know, I don't remember who I gave it to. It might have been Casillas or one of those guys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't drink it because I was controlling.
One of the very few pictures I have of myself in the Navy is on Beer Day. It's I'm sitting there holding like a Budweiser can. I'm like smiling, right? And for people that don't know, like the U.S. Navy's policy on alcohol is basically no alcohol on the ship unless you've been underway for was it 45 days straight.
I think so.
And then you get they'll fly a pallet of beer out to the ship, and you're issued like 2 beers.
Yep.
And they ration you 2 beers, and so the alcoholics go around like picking up people's chits, beer.
Or I'll give you, yeah.
It's a good time, and we were in the Middle East, and it was right after the USS Cole got bombed, and so they sent us out to sea. They sent us out to sea because ships are safer at sea than they are in port. And man, after the Cole got bombed, we were just stuck out there.
There's a conspiracy theory with that.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard about that.
No, what is it?
So, you know, our hull number is 67.
Yes.
So is the Cole's.
Right. Yeah, because when the Cole got bombed, my ex-wife, my now ex-wife, she saw it on the news, and she just saw a U.S. ship with 6-7 on it with a hole blown in the side, and she was freaking out. And all of our comms went down because they shut off comms because they don't want
they don't want to leak stuff. Yeah.
Right. So they shut off comms. So I couldn't tell her, hey, I'm fine. Like, it's not my ship or whatever. And so she was freaking out for a couple of days till her comms came back up. But yeah, so there's a conspiracy that that bomb was meant for us.
Yeah, that's what it is because of what we did in the Gulf.
Oh, yeah, from the previous pack.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember what happened because we were in Kuala Lumpur. And I just did we pull in, and I go around, and I go, okay, I'm gonna go to this. Excuse me. I'm gonna go to this and this place and this place, get these t-shirts. We're always getting like t-shirts. Oh, you know, say we've been here. Then I went back to the ship because I was tired because we just pulled in. I was just exhausted, right? And I didn't have duty the next day. So I get woke up by an IS, or it wasn't an IS, it was a CT saying, hey, we're told that you have access to Combat Information Center, which, for those who don't know, is the main hub of the ship, which is where you fight the ship.
That's where all the radar is. If you watch the movie Top Gun, this is what I tell people. If you watch the movie Top Gun, right, where the officer's behind the guy who's looking at the console, and he's like, "Who's up there?" And the guy down there at the console's like, "Maverick and Goose, sir." Like that was what Larry and I did.
Yeah.
We were the Maverick and Goose, sir, guys. Yeah.
So yeah, he came in and says, hey, you know, you got access to CSC. And apparently I was the only person on board that did at the time. And I'm thinking something, you know, something's off, something's going on, something big. Maybe we're sorting out. Yeah, sorting out. Yeah, going out. And I'm thinking, oh, great, you know, I missed this whole, you know, visit and stuff. So we go up there. I let him in, and he looks at me, he goes, well, I need to get on the red phone. He goes, I can't tell you right now what's going on. I said, I'll tell you afterwards. So I'm like, all right. So I go out, and then afterwards he told me about the Cole. It was that was the reason.
I thought the Cole got bombed while we were in Dubai.
No, it was
So I remember it differently. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm
Yeah,
just saying I remember it differently because this was 23 years ago. So
yeah.
But I remember it differently. I remember us getting sortied out of Kuala Lumpur because I was on duty. Like when we pulled in there, and I had duty that first night, and I never got to see shore. Because the next morning they wake me up and they're like, Petty Officer Bauer, we got to do the underway checkoff list. We got to get going. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I haven't gone on shore leave yet.
Right.
And they're like, you're not going to, because we're getting underway. We're recalling everybody back to the ship. And I thought that there was some other shit going on. And then like we got underway from there, and we did go to Dubai. And it was when we were in Dubai that they told us all that the coal got bombed. So so maybe did the coal get bombed while we were in Kuala Lumpur, and they just didn't tell us until after Dubai?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that happened while we were in Kuala Lumpur. I was, selfish me. I was just bad because I couldn't, I'm like, oh, and then I didn't afterwards. I'm like, shit, some people died, because I was thinking of, it's like, oh, I didn't get to go do my tour, and then I felt bad because I'm like, fuck, people died.
Well, they didn't really, honestly, they didn't really tell us why we were getting sent to the Gulf. We were, we were on our way to the Gulf, but we had to that Westpac was fucking retarded, guys. Like, so we were supposed to go to Vladivostok. We were supposed to go to Hong Kong. We were supposed to go to Thailand, right? And then as we're coming out, there's a fucking typhoon. So we have to divert south. And we ended up going to Kuala Lumpur, but we missed all sorts of ports on the way there. So by this time, we were already at sea by a long time. We had been at sea a lot. And so
we got our free beers several times.
So when we got to Kuala Lumpur, it was like, okay, but I had the first duty day. So I get there, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll get to party the rest of the time. I didn't get to see any of it. And we fucking went to the Gulf. Then we went to Dubai. We actually got to spend a little bit of time in Dubai, and that was cool. But then they were like, okay, well, turns out that the coal got bombed. We're safer at sea. And then we were just out to sea for like ever. And it was it fucking sucked. Like that absolutely sucked. It was the worst deployment ever. And then I think we went to Bahrain once, and then we were out to sea again forever. And then we basically just went to Australia after that. It was like,
was it like Bahrain for Ramadan?
I can't remember, but
that's the worst time to go because no drinking. They don't like to drink.
Well, we were allowed to drink on base because I remember I remember Fields and I got absolutely fucking destroyed on Strongbow.
Oh,
Strongbow hard apple cider. We drank 9 pitchers of that between the two of us. 9. I don't know how I didn't have alcohol poisoning, but we stumbled back to the ship, and I remember Jackson. Right. He was like OS2 at the time. Yeah. Jackson was shore patrol, and he was escorting the captain back to the ship. And he's like, come on, Captain, we got to go. And he's like, y'all ain't getting underway without me. Okay. And he was like, the captain was fucking drunk and belligerent.
Captain's a pirate.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, that deployment was fucked up. Let's go through. Let me just pull up an entry here. Let's see what we got. There was this whole series in here. Yeah. Here near the end where, so this started off, I was a Swiss, right? Which is subsurface warfare supervisor, right? Beach and I were both Swiss at some point. And I was made Swiss when I was an E3.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I because I was one of those guys that if I stood a watch and I fucking hated it, I was like, what is that guy doing? Like, who's that?
Right.
The boss doing? What's the boss doing?
What's the guy that doesn't always have to rotate to
right
these stupid or to the bridge?
Go to the fucking bridge and try not to fall asleep up there and shit. Right. And so I was always like, okay, let me do the quals to get to the next spot. Right. So when I was doing battle stations or whatever, or GQ, for a long time, I was down in DC Central, And
how'd you get that, man?
They put me down there, dude. Luckily I didn't have to do a fire locker or something like that. Yeah. I was down DC Central, but I had to listen. I was a radio operator for one of the fire lockers, and anything that they told me, I had to relay it to some guy, and I can't remember what his spot was, but he put it all on a board. And then the DCA would look at what's going on the board and know basically what was going on the ship, like what fires were where and stuff. And so I was like, I want that guy's spot, the guy who's putting the shit on the board. And so I got qualified to do that. And it's funny because it seemed like every time I got qualified to do that job, then I would get rotated back up to combat. So after I got qualified to do that, it wasn't long after that they made me like an aft watch for GQ. Let me tell you something.
I was starboard lookout on GQ.
Yeah, the aft lookout, dude. Aft lookout for GQ. You just go up there with a book, right? Yeah. Because they're like fighting imaginary fires on the ship. Yeah. They're like doing all sorts of fighting imaginary ships during these drills. When you're aft lookout, there ain't shit out there in the middle of the ocean. So you don't go out on the fantail. You go into the helo hangar. So you go up to the helo hangar and sit in the.
Oh, so now I thought you were on the fantail.
No, not during GQ. No, so you go in and you just sit up there. You just sit up there and like bring a book. Fucking awesome. I loved it. Yeah. And then they moved me into combat after that. I can't remember what I did for probably Swiss or some shit during
or somebody will like, how come Bauer gets to the, somebody probably did that.
Someone probably bitched about it. Yeah.
Be out there. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing though is like what I found in the Navy was like, if you stepped up a little bit and you got qualified and stuff and you sort of stood out, you got rewarded with like more work sometimes, but other times you got rewarded with cake jobs, So it was like, okay.
Remember when you got the you worked under me for the training and stuff?
Yeah,
I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit. I mean, I was doing it myself for a long time, but then they were like, "Hey, cheers, Toledo and Bauer," and Paul went Zoom, took it, and I'm like, all right, this.
Because that was great because that got me out of cleaning stations, so I didn't have to clean because I would say, no, I got to make up the PowerPoints for today's training, and so I would literally sit there all morning making PowerPoints, and then at noon I would deliver the training.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a good fucking skate job. But so anyway, what I was going to say is like near the end of this book, I was Swiss, right? And then Senior Chief Stevens wanted to move me over to airside. Oh, and he wanted me to sit a position called Red Crown, where you basically check airplanes' crypto to make sure that they're friendly. And if their crypto doesn't work, like you don't want to send them off on a mission because we'll shoot them down, right? Mm-hmm. So we had this whole thing, this whole storyline in this fucking book about how the air side was the Jedis. Or no, I'm sorry, the surface side was the Jedis, but the air side was the dark side. They were the dark side. Yeah, they were the Sith. So there's all these people talking about like, oh, Paul's going to come to the dark side. And they're calling like right here, they call me Paulnikin.
I didn't remember that one.
Oh man, it's so funny. It's this whole thing, and I'm sitting there like saying, never, like this will never happen or whatever. But it was like, I had no say in it because Senior Chief made me do that. We were calling them air fags. There's a thing here. We called them. Yeah, we call them air fags. It's like right here. Good times. Oh, and then can we show this on YouTube? We're past the 8-minute mark. This is sort of off topic with everything else, but so is this book. But fucking Luna out of nowhere decides to fucking draw a whole picture of a dick and balls.
And Ludo's a pretty good artist too.
Yeah, he says here is a most recent police sketch of Bervin's balls. Oh yeah, because Bervin, FC3 Bervin. We used to say Bervin's got balls, and she was a chick. So it says, here's the most recent police sketch of Bourbon's balls and what they might look like today. And so anyway, that was part of that. So this is the third book, right? The third book. We had a second book, and I started the second book when I was on Airside, and I was writing all sorts of, I know exactly who took it. I was writing all sorts of shit about officers and stuff in that. And just out of nowhere, after one watch, it just fucking disappeared. And it turned out it was Jackson. Jackson threw it overboard.
Really?
Yeah. And I asked him about it because this was like, he made OS1 like not too long afterwards. And I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, man, you put some fucked up shit in there, man. Like, yeah. He's like, dude, I don't want you going to captain's mast. I don't want anybody in the division getting in trouble. So I made it disappear, man. Yeah, I threw it over overboard.
Have you seen the first volume?
I know the first one. I was like, are you serious? Like, they're all this bad. And there's a disclaimer. There's a disclaimer at the beginning. Yeah. That would work in captain's mast, right?
Yeah, of course. Were you there when they were? I had Maria sent me a package. It was Halloween time, and it was a black stuffed bat, like a fluffy plush black bat. For some reason, it was like a little tiny one.
Okay.
And I would have it at my console. I don't know why. And then somebody, hold on a second. Got to adjust back pain. So
you're so old.
Yeah, somebody took it and hung the bat somewhere, like news was. I think in combat, and then at one time they took a picture of it with it hanging and said, if you want to see your bat again, give me 2 candy bars or so. It was just a whole thing. It was funny.
Yeah. Was it Octobisky?
I don't know if it was him or God, I don't know.
Casillas, I don't know.
I mean,
do you remember France?
Yeah. Oh, geez.
France unfriended me during the whole Bush versus Hillary fucking debacle 2016. That, unfortunately, that political event caused a lot of people's friendships and families to split apart because some people fucking hated.
I honestly care less what who you. I don't care. I mean, I'm not going to change your mind. It's whatever. That's why we vote.
Yeah. There's a chick that I'm friends with, and she lives down in Montrose, which is about an hour from me. I went to high school with her. Just a fucking screaming liberal, right? Screaming liberal. But she and I get along as long as we don't talk about politics. So that's just like our thing. If we ever talk, we just don't talk about politics because we just can't see eye to eye on it, and we get along swimmingly. And so there was one day where France was like going off about Trump, and he's like, if you support Trump, unfriend me. And he was a chief at that point. I don't know what he's doing now, but
I don't know how he did that because I got a story about him. I don't know if you remember it.
I remember him. We all thought that he went overboard and he was sleeping behind one of the consoles.
Yeah, I remember that one too. We found him.
I remember. I don't know if he was with him, but I remember Hughes missed ship's movement and had to go to captain's mast for it.
Damn.
And Hughes ended up being a fucking master chief.
France lost crypto.
Oh, no shit.
The little thing that you take up to the bridge.
Yeah.
Supposedly he was taking up the bridge, but I think he stopped to get a smoke or something.
Yeah.
Lost it somewhere. So when we pulled in, we were pulling up all the decks in CIC, looking for this thing. And I'm like, didn't hear anything else from it. Like he never went to mass, nothing. No, didn't hear anything else about it. Because he was the golden boy for some reason.
I never understood that because, Senior Chief Stevens loved France and Hughes.
Yeah.
He loved those guys. And Hughes, I could get. Like, I get it. Hughes was Hughes was born a salty fucking bastard, right? But France was like, he just always seemed like he was permanently baked. Like he spent way too much time in high school smoking doobies.
Yeah.
but Senior Chief loved him. So yeah, he made Tick, you know, and it was just like when they made him Tick, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Made no sense. But yeah, and he ended up becoming a chief, and he was up in NTC, Great Lakes. That's the last time I heard from him. And but he unfriended me because I supported Trump. And yeah, I was like, well, that's a damn shame, man. Yeah, and I know, like, I think I think like Gonzo's not Gonzo's kind of a Democrat. I don't think he likes Trump at all. That's fine. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Gonzo and I still get along. So that kind of stuff is really unfortunate. We were talking about Toledo. So in Bourbon's balls. I'm still friends with Bourbon, by the way. I don't think she goes by Bourbon anymore. I think she got married or remarried or something. But we're friends on Facebook. But let's talk about the chicks in the Navy, right? Because you were talking about how at your current station, some chicks are coming in and you're like, it's about to be all fucked up. And I was saying, well, y'all were saying that shit when I got to Shiloh because we were an all male ship at the time. And then we got back from 98 deployment, went to dry dock, and it was right after, like, during that dry dock is they made provisions for women, and we got our first females on board. I'm still friends with the first female enlisted girl on Shiloh. I can't think of her name right now. She's a Mexican chick.
Was she in deck division? No, I'm just kidding.
She wasn't in deck division. She was a unlisted fireman, though, I think. Oh, fireman? Undesignated fireman. And I'm friends with her still on Facebook.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Ramos.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm friends with her still, which is funny too, because she was hot, right? She was like, she's not just Navy hot, like out to sea after 3 months hot. She was cute, right? She was really cute, and all the guys wanted to get with her. Yeah. And I think I even asked her on a date once, and that didn't work out. But we're friends on Facebook, and she's not cute anymore. I think the wall has hit poor Ramos pretty hard. Yep. I hate to say, but yeah. So the chicks on the ship, for me, it wasn't a big deal because I had just come out of A school. I had just come out of boot camp, and A school, like, the chicks in A school were just as bad as the dudes, And so I wasn't too worried about it. In fact, after the chicks came on board, like, guys started actually showering and putting cologne on and stuff. Like, it kind of improvement. It kind of was an improvement. But one thing I do remember, though, is that some of those chicks were fucking disgusting. Right? There was a chick in deck division that shit in a bucket. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that? God, I can't remember that chick's name. But
so her name, bucket shitter.
She was because God, we had Connolly, right? Connolly, I'm friends with Connolly still.
Yeah, Connolly, I see her.
Connolly was like our little spy down in female berthing, because she was when I first met her, she was an OS3, and she made OS2 on the ship. But she would talk about, like, all the filthy shit that was going on in the girls' berthing, right? Like, they had a health and comfort inspection, and, like, all the chicks had dildos and stuff. And then there was that like, they came back from port one time, and that there was a shit in the bucket, and no one knew who did it, but everyone sort of suspected it was that undesignated seaman chick, because that chick was just fucking gross anyway. Do you remember Balches?
The name sounds familiar, Balches, but I don't know the face.
Balches was in our division. She was like a maybe an E3 or something. And she was a blonde chick. She was from the Bronx. And so she had a thick New York accent, and she ended up, like, getting herself kicked out because she went right up to the XO with her girlfriend and made out with the XO in front of, like, right in his office.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Because she was ready to get out. So that's how she decided that she was going to do it, Yeah, the chicks in the Navy they're interesting creatures.
I got a story. Is FC3 Lunsford or FC2 Lunsford?
I'm friends with her still. I know, I'm friends with her still. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, she's friends. I'm friends with her on Facebook.
So I was mess deck master arms at the time.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and she was pregnant, but she was FSA. So, there are certain things that the pregnant women can do or are allowed to do, whatever, and certain things they can't, right? Mopping the floor, they can mop the floor, they can sweep the floor, whatever. And she was just sitting down at the tables doing nothing. And of course, I gotta be a mess like master. I don't know what you need to get up and get something. I don't feel good and this and that. She many excuses why she couldn't do it. I go, okay, go to medical, get yourself a written thing saying that you can't do this. She wouldn't do that either because she knew I was calling her out on her bullshit.
Yeah.
And then she started doing the tears. I looked at her, I'm like, that's not going to do anything. And she immediately stopped crying. And I'm like, get up and sweep. And then I see her in there and she'd be sweeping, but then she'd see me start crying as she's sweeping. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just leave. But that was my experience. I did not like her because pulling that crap, it's like, okay. I understand the skating because we skate but just I don't know. I guess I had to be a supervisor. I had to supervise type thing. So
yeah, but, there's that's an interesting thing that you bring up though, because in the Navy, like I almost never call out sick to this day. Like almost never call out sick because in the Navy. If you're sick, you still have to show up to muster. You have to show up to muster and you have to say, I don't feel good. May I go to medical?
Yeah.
And then you go to medical and you have to be on your fucking deathbed for them to give you some kind of slip saying you can't work today. Otherwise, it's here's a Motrin, motherfuckers, suck it up. And you got to get out there and work. And
if I lose a finger, I don't, I'm like debate whether should I go? I mean, it stopped bleeding. Yeah. So I'm good. I should be good. That's my and Maria, my wife, she constantly says you need to get call. You need to get an appointment. You need to get an appointment. I don't do it because I just don't go. I don't go to these places. But
there's some people, man. There's some people too that I've met since the Navy. They will go to the doctor for a sniffle. They will go to the doctor. They'll go to the fucking ER. If they have a cold. And I'm like, you're going to the ER for a cold. Like, do you realize how expensive that is for one? And two, like, have you never had a cold before? You got to go to the fucking ER. And so, yeah, I have very little tolerance.
Is it the COVID because of the COVID thing? People are all afraid of sniffles now.
No, this was before COVID. This was pre-COVID. Oh, okay. Yeah. And honestly, like, I mean, I've worked remotely for 10 years now. I worked remotely for 10 years, so I don't really have to deal with that so much. But
my dog, I don't want to interrupt. My dog is whining their ass off out. I don't know if you can't hear it.
I can't hear it. Okay,
good. All right.
Do you have to let them out or something? We could take a break.
No. They actually want to come in, and it's just me and these two dogs because my wife's in the States.
Yeah.
So they're just loving up on me. Just so. It's like a separation thing because they follow me throughout the house. If I go down, they follow me everywhere. They have to be so I can hear them out the door just whining.
Yeah,
but they'll be okay.
My dog here, she's laying right here. She's here every podcast episode. Maybe she's my professional podcast dog. Her name is Sadie, and
I saw Sadie. I saw her. That was cute.
Yeah.
Let me. I'll let him in. I keep interrupting. I know you're the host and stuff.
No, it's okay.
Let them in. They'll just go lay down on the.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead and do that. So while you're doing that, we'll talk more about the sick, lame, and lazy. That's what we call it.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
The sick, lame, and lazy.
Sick call warriors.
Yeah, I remember even one time, the petty officer of the watch actually put over the 1MC, like, now lay off the sick, lame, and lazy, right? Because they would
said lazy. Oh my god.
Because they would put out on the 1MC that there was sick call, and people could go back to go see ship's medical if they had some kind of issue or whatever. And I've had to do that in the past, but I've never gotten out of work for it, you know, which is it's just the Navy just doesn't care, you know. It's literally their cure all for everything is Motrin and change your socks, you know, like
yeah, Motrin, man. When the doctors give me a Motrin, I just throw it back. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you don't like Motrin? I still take Motrin. Although I like a leave now better because it lasts for 12 hours. So now that I'm older, you know, you got to take vitamin I.
I think the doctor gave me some acetaminophen, but it's like really strong stuff for my back pain.
Oh,
but mostly it's because I put on some. I know what it is. I need to lose more weight.
You're a fat fuck now?
Yeah, pretty much fat fuck club. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude. The high, you know, I weighed, what was it? At one time in the service, 270, 277, something like that. So here's the Navy story. All right. So I did a deployment with my job. It was called JTAGS, Joint Tactical Ground Station. And what it is a Navy detachment that works with the Army. So we look at early or ballistic missile launches or something like that. We just keep an eye on certain people and watch them. And then once we see it launch, we send it out to them and let them know, hey, duck and cover, you know. So several places that we go was in Osan, Korea. So I'd go to Osan, Korea for 6 months, and they would say, okay, there's nobody watching us saying, hey, go PT. There's no schedule. It's like, you can go to the gym. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Most Navy is, I remember, was it Captain Liggett or was it the captain after Captain Liggett that made us do mandatory PT for?
I think it was after. I think it Duas.
He made us do like for
which is good idea. It was good. We needed to
a couple months, but he made us do mandatory PT in the morning, which fucking sucked, you know,
because it sucked, but we needed it. I mean, for real.
Yeah,
I definitely.
Some of us needed it. I definitely needed it. I think at that time, and I was like a chain smoker, so going on like the 1.5 mile runs, I was like dying, you know. But I used to periodically get in my head to go up to the weight deck and work out. I used to like to do that occasionally, you know.
So I ended up doing 6 months in Korea. Not working out. And we're sitting down. We're
Your
sitting
dogs
down.
have squeak toys now.
Yeah, we're looking at like compute. Yeah, do you hear the squeaky toy?
Yeah.
So I came back and they weighed me and they're like, oh, you're 200 something this. Then I'm there for like 3 months. I'm doing PT. It's just not coming off quick. Then they send me to United Arabian Emirates, a place called Camp Asalea, out in the middle of nowhere, desert. Basically, all there's like 3 things you can do: drink, fuck, or work out. Right? Well, I wasn't fucking. I can drink. They actually had several different bars and stuff, which was kind of awesome. But I don't know what got into me. I started running, and then I was building it up. So I was building up and building up. I've told you this before, and I believe offline, but I got up to running 6 miles a day, and I got down to 200 pounds or something like that. But the most fit I've ever been in the Navy. You probably wouldn't have recognized me because I was so thin. Maria, she didn't like it because she thought I was like not eating or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm losing, you know, and burning calories because of running and stuff. And
that's a mate guarding strategy too that women do, you know, like when they're afraid that like when you're getting sexier and stuff. Yeah,
it fucked with my head because after she said that, I was like, I kind of did some exercise. After that, I just didn't do anything.
Yeah,
and
it
comes back fast.
Yeah, they call it like Rollo and John MLD, Modern Life Dating John. They call it the extra scoop of rice, right? Where women, it's a mate guarding strategy where women are afraid that their man is starting to look good. He's starting to look, like other women might be interested. And instead of them working out too, to, maintain their attractiveness, they start either shaming you for working out, or they start feeding you extra food to plump you back up. Yeah. And that's, and you can blame it on the women too. You can blame it on them, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's
me.
It's your own choices, so.
Yeah, it is.
And I did the same thing. Because I tell the story all the time, when I was with my ex-wife, and you met, Larry knew my ex-wife.
I met her. He
met her a bunch of times.
She was a little different. Yeah.
In fact, you knew her when I first met her before.
I remember. Yeah, you were talking about. It's like, you're talking about this girl from Colorado, and I remember it. Yeah. And I met your daughter before she was born, because I remember you came out for a barbecue in Coronado. We were on Coronado. That's there's the top.
Yeah, you were living in the base housing at the time there. You lived there for a while. Did we come out and show you a picture of my daughter when she was?
No, she was still pregnant. She hadn't had her yet.
Oh, okay.
At the time, that's what. Yeah, she was there,
but
she
was full
on
preggers.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Beach actually knows my ex-wife, which is that's kind of an interesting story. So Beach has been with me like from the beginning, before I met her until now. Like Beach has always been there. Beach, I've told this story on the podcast before, and I know you've heard me tell this.
When you dyed your hair?
No.
No. We gotta talk about it later. It's so funny.
That's a different story. We should talk about that. But no, like Beach went with me to go buy my first car.
Oh yeah.
We're
both scammed.
Yeah. So when we got to San Diego for the first time, this was 98 after the first deployment. It was like we were in home port for a while, and I decided it was going to be a good idea to go buy a car. I remember like the chiefs and the first classes were like, okay, look, if you're, don't go buy a car and get swindled by these hustlers. Bring one of the senior enlisted with you, bring like an E5 or something. So I was like, oh, Beach, you recently bought a car. Like, can you go with me and help me make sure I don't get screwed? And you're like, yeah, I know a great place. And so Beach takes me to this place called First Choice Fuki down on National Avenue.
Something else now. First
it's
choice,
probably
fuck
not.
You.
Yeah. So First Choice Fuki was like a lemon dealership, and that's where Beach bought his Firebird, which you still have.
Yes, I do. I still have it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be. I'm in the process of looking for a garage to restore it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so Beach bought this white Firebird in there, and so I went there and they had a Plymouth Laser. It was like a.
Oh yeah. Was it green?
It was a green Plymouth Laser, but it was sporty, And I remember they were looking at the paperwork. I had no idea what I was looking at. It was 17% interest. And Beach looks it over real quick and goes, yeah,
good.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Looks good.
Fucking, I signed on a dotted line. And the payments on that thing plus insurance basically wiped out my entire paycheck every month. And I had no money. And so then someone was like, well, why don't you go get it refinanced through Navy Federal, like 17% interest. Good God, and that really wasn't on Larry though. That was really just the fact that I had no credit, because I was.
And then you get it through their thing, and I think I did the same stupid thing. I think I got it through them too.
Yeah, so I went to Navy Fed, and they said, you have no credit, so you need to pay on this for at least a year, and then we'll refinance you. And so I was like, okay. So I just sucked it up for a year, made my payments on it. And then anytime anyone needed to go out in town, Bauer's got a car. I'm like, okay, but you got to fill up my gas tank, right? Like that's how I got gas. Yep. Meatball didn't have a driver's license.
Yeah, I remember Meatball. Yeah.
So I would take Meatball like way out to like Grossmont Mall and shit, and he would pay for a full tank of gas, and I'd be like, all right, yeah.
He knows what I'm talking about.
He's a little twitchy. I'm friends with Meatball on Facebook too.
Yeah. I think I've seen him on there. Yeah.
But I dropped meat off, and he would be like, "Hey man, you want to go hang out with me at Mongolian barbecue?" I was like, "Nah, no, but have a good time, meat." And then I would take off, and I'd have a full tank of gas again, and like that got me by for a year. And then I refinanced with Navy Federal, got the interest rate down and the payments down, and it was better after that. But it was it was a good it was a good lesson. It was a good lesson.
That same dealership now. So originally I went and I got a Firebird, but the Firebird I got didn't see the one that I had actually had a cell phone in it, which was badass, right? But
it wasn't hooked up though.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it was. It was hooked up. I used it a couple times, but it was expensive, obviously. So there was actually another white Firebird, same model, same year that I had looked at, and I actually had drove that one off the lot. And so I was going to an A school. I can't remember which school it was. And so I was been driving around for a week, thinking I'm good to go. I already did all the paperwork and everything like that. So I get a call from him and said, "Hey, you need to bring the car in, or we're going to call the police and say you stole the car," or something like. It was something to that effect, that you stole it. I'm like, what? And so it goes, yeah, we got to redo, or the financing fell through. And this is I thought was like a bait and switch type bullshit that they were doing. The financing fell through. So you had to go back and redo the paperwork, and they go, "Oh, well, we can't put you in this car that you were just driving around for like a week, but we can put you in this car." And they showed me some piece of shit, like dark brown, just looked like crap. I didn't want it. It wasn't sporty, that's for sure. It looked like some family car, and I'm like, no, I'm not driving that. I'm like, well, we have another Firebird on our other lot. We can take it over there and look at. And I looked at, and that was the one I have now. And I'm like, that looks like the same one, except this one's got a cell phone. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's kind of cool. And then, of course, I don't remember what the percentage was. I'm pretty sure it was crappy too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, great. Charge me as much as you want. I was just happy. I got the reason why I got the car, because I just got off the trolley. And as soon as I got the trolley at the gate where 32nd Street is, I'm like, no more. I'm not getting on this trolley anymore. I'm going to get a car. And of course, First Choice Fuki was right there across the street.
Yeah.
From 32nd Street. And then they had their other place, the main place that, we went to for the paperwork, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man. Good times.
Speaking of, man, I have a funny trolley story. So this was back when I was this was after the Navy, but it was when I was dating Red Pill Chick, and I took Red Pill Chick back to San Diego. This was the first time I think I brought her back to San Diego, and I took her on the trolley, and we went on the trolley into downtown and stuff like that. And on the way back, there was this fucking like Asian transgender chick, and she was she was drunk, and she was yelling at no, I'm sorry. Yeah, so there was this this Asian transgender chick, and this fucking drunk homeless lady was yelling at her, saying, "You try to take my man. You try to take my man. Well, when my man's with you, when my man's with you, he's thinking about me. He's thinking about me, right?" And this fucking transgender fucking woman thing was like, what the fuck? And and we all get off the train at the same stop, and I just remember like the transgender and me and Red Pill Chick were like walking down on our way to the parking lot, and then transgender chick went a different way, and then as we're walking away, Red Pill Chick looks at me and she goes, "You stay away from her. She's a man fucker."
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, like that. The San Diego trolley is wild, man. Especially, have you ever taken the Orange Line?
I remember what the lines they had.
The Orange Line,
is that the one that goes all the way to TJ?
No, the Orange Line goes from El Cajon, like down the southern route, and then comes up to San Diego, to like the downtown San Diego. But it goes down through the south, like down through like the ghetto hood, right? Like down through like the shitty area of San Diego, like down where like the low income, like the Mexican neighborhoods and stuff.
Yeah. I used to live in National City.
Yeah, no, this is worse.
Apartment there.
This is worse than National City. I just and the only reason why I know about the Orange Line is because like when we were on the ship, we never had to take necessarily the Orange Line. Like we would just take the trolley down to TJ maybe, or we would take I think it was the Green Line, like up to Mission Valley or something.
Or Horton's Plaza.
Horton Plaza. Horton Plaza is gone now.
Really?
Yeah.
Gaslamp's good though.
Yeah, Gaslamp Quarter is still good, but the mall's gone. But one of the things I used to do with my daughter when she was real little, like 2 or 3, is we would do daddy-daughter days. And I would take her on the trolley rides, and we'd go down to Seaport Village or, whatever. We'd go to Mission Valley Mall and get ice cream or, stuff like that. But one day I made the mistake of taking the Orange Line and we went down through the ghetto, man. And there was just some like this fucking drug addicts get on, like homeless people. It's freaky. And I'm just like, oh shit, like this is no place for like a 2-year-old little white girl, like not the place. So I never did that again. But the other trolley lines are somewhat better, just depending on what time of day you go. So San Diego is an absolute shithole now, dude.
I grew up in Portland, Oregon. So if that gives you Portland, Oregon.
So you're used to it. Okay. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Portland, Oregon was nowhere near like it was when I grew up. It was nice. Right. I've been there since then, where all this homeless and everybody's like camping out on the sidewalk. It's horrible, man. They have this long, they ride bikes a lot there. So they got bicycles. So they have this long, huge bike trail that you can take. It's all, cemented, and it's away from cars and stuff like that. I mean, you can go miles and stuff, and it's awesome. I used to take that all the time. They're camping on the bike trail and stuff, and then harassing people trying to go through, and it's just horrible.
And so my day job, the company I work for, their main offices, we got bought out. That's a long story, but the people that I work with, they're still in San Diego. So occasionally I have to go back and like, I'll go jogging, right? Like down some old bike trails and stuff like that. And there's just like tent cities everywhere. There's fucking needles on the ground. People are shitting in places. It is gross. It's like, but they have, it's a human right, cause it's all ran by the
right to shit on the sidewalk, I guess.
It's disgusting. It's not the San Diego that I lived in. I'll tell you that right now.
But I'm wondering, I wonder is where did the homelessness all of a sudden come? Is it because of COVID wiped out a bunch of people's stuff, or
no?
Or mental facilities and homeless shelters had to close down, so now it's like, why are all these people?
No, they were always there. It's just that there were city ordinances that didn't allow people to see it. But now they have this whole thing about, homelessness is a human right and shitting in the streets is a human right. So they allow it in public places now. So now you're like, I used to work for a company, years ago in downtown San Diego, and we had to park 2 blocks down from the office building. It was in the big Merrill Lynch building in San Diego, and then we had to park at the Chase building, which was the Chase building at the time. And so we had to walk down the street. And if you worked after 6 p.m., you were literally stepping over people sleeping in the street. It was fucking bad, man. And it just got worse. It's just gotten worse over the years. Shifting gears away from such terrible topics. I have one last story to ask you, since we're at an hour, and then we'll wrap it up here. But do you remember, Larry, when you were living sort of off of Friars Road a little bit over in that base housing over there, and we would go and donate plasma.
Oh, geez.
We would
I
go
still have marks in my. I still have
I
the
do
marks
too.
in both. Yeah,
Yeah.
both arms. So when I give blood, I'm like, I gave plasma. I don't do drugs. I gave plasma.
Right. Yeah, I for a while there, people were asking me about the tracks in my arm,
Yeah.
and I was like, "No, I used to donate plasma for
Yep.
beer money." So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
Larry and
remember
I
that.
we would go down to a pyramid, I think it was called, and we would donate
Yeah.
plasma, and they would give us like I don't know, $50 each or
Yeah.
something,
hmm
and we would use that to go like buy a like a 12 pack of beer and then go to like Hollywood Video and rent a movie or something and just
Yeah.
like chill at Beach's house.
Yeah.
Like that was the fun thing to do.
You know who showed me Brian Stoltz.
Stoltz. Oh yeah.
Stoltz, dude, that guy he's not doing good. He's not doing good at all. He
The
got
last
on
the
meth
last
and got on crack.
yeah.
He's basically I don't know bi, but he was struggling with that, where he was thinking that he was just full on gay or something like that. He was telling me this stuff, and of course I was fucking with him because I didn't give a shit. But he at one time called me up and says, "Hey man, I'm getting this this motorcycle, this Harley, and I need you to co-sign this loan for me." And my dumbass was like, "Yeah, he's my friend," and all that. In finances, never co-sign for your family, for your friends. Never do it ever.
That reminds me of you know who Rollo Tomasi is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know who Ryan Stone is?
I heard. I think I heard because you mentioned his name all the time. I don't recognize pictures.
Ryan and Rollo are friends. They're panel members with me on Rule Zero, but like Ryan always busts Rollo's chops because he's like, dude, Rollo, you are so red pill when it comes to women, but you fucking aren't when it comes to men, right? Like, I think that's that's a lot of us. Like we they're our friend. Of course I'll bail you out and stuff like that. But yeah, you gotta.
That's what I was thinking. Is like I'll help you out, but then I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And he called up because he was at the place wanting me to do it like right now, right this minute. I'm like, no. He yelled at me. He's like, "Oh, I hate you for this," or whatever. And I talked to his ex-wife. His ex-wife goes, "Oh yeah, it's a good thing you didn't do that because he would just sell it for drugs, or he wouldn't pay. If he had the Harley, he wouldn't pay to make the payments. You would end up having to pay for something that you don't even own, type of thing." And I'm like, and he wasn't doing good. He had his family background was jacked up. He's told me like what happened when he was younger and stuff, and I'm like, holy shit. But he was a Marine, and then he joined the Navy as a ST. I didn't know that either, but yeah, he was a Marine, or
Yeah, I remember him being he was an STG, right? STG. Yeah, I remember he and I went out shooting down on the border one time. We brought a bunch of hard drives down there, and he had an AK-47.
Yeah. I went shooting with him too.
Yeah, and we were shooting up old hard drives and stuff like that. That was fun. That was the last time I had actually talked to the guy. And then it wasn't long after that you were telling me about some of these problems. At some point I thought I heard from somebody that he was even thinking about like getting transition surgery at one point or something.
I haven't heard. I don't know.
But I don't know what ever happened with that. I haven't kept in contact with him, so I'm not. But you still keep in contact with him? He's still
no.
No, okay.
No, after that is like he's got a. I mean, I don't care who he fucks, right? That doesn't matter to me as a friend, but it's just that he was doing drugs. He was doing crack with these women of the evening or whatever, or maybe men of the evening. I don't know.
Yeah.
And meth and all this. He was just doing so he was in that, and I don't know what's his deal was with that. I just
that's really unfortunate.
Don't want to get into that stuff, man.
Yeah, stay away from that. All right, well, Well, Beach, thank you for joining me today, man. It's fun catching up. I put it out on Twitter that I was going to be having this discussion with you, and we're going to talk about old man sea stories and stuff like that. So I know there's a couple of guys in the space that are former sailors. Ryan Stone is one of them. He's a former Canadian sailor.
I have a lot more stories though, dude.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to do a part. We'll have to do a part 2 of this. We'll see how this one does. If people want more Navy stories, sound off in the comments. Let us know if you want more Navy stories, and then we'll bring Beach on. He ain't going anywhere. He's stuck in Japan.
Better camera.
Yeah, get a better camera. That's not so
I
like
see it's all whited out, kind of a little bit. It's the lighting. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, like I said before, people will tolerate bad video. They will not tolerate bad audio, though. You know.
Oh yeah.
That's an interesting thing about podcasting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. People can't stand the audio stuff. So, all right. Do you want people to find you online?
Okay. So I game a lot. And I stream on Twitch. So it's a Bat Night. That's my streaming name on there. I play Red Dead Redemption 2 and Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's just, I like doing it. And for no reason, I got 30 followers following me playing video games. I don't really hardly say anything on there. I just play. play.
Okay.
So,
You know, you know what so my son likes to watch video game streamers. And one thing that I've absolutely noticed about successful video game streamers is that they get overly excited about nothing. About absolutely fucking nothing. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I just jumped over a rock." You know, like
right. Yeah. I just go in there and I don't even have, I don't stream any video of me playing it. Right.
Yeah.
It's just the actual game. And only recently I've been having my headphones on because I'll look up and I like, oh, somebody's asked me a question, typed it in there. And in order for me to reply, I got to get on my phone, open up to, I got to get in there and type, and then I'm in the middle of a game.
Right.
So I've been I'll just put on there and just answer them real quick. And then that's it. Just go on there and play and stuff. But there's a lot older. There's a Australian guy that's an old Twitch game streamer dude. He's kind of almost looks like me a little bit, but yeah, he streams. But yeah, that's about it. Just Twitch.
All right. Well, there's a lot of guys. I know there's a lot of guys in the space that are on Twitch, and they stream too. They stream video games. So if you guys play Red Dead Redemption
2, yeah.
2, look up Bat Night there.
And if you follow me, I'll follow you back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Larry, thank you so much, man. I'll give you the rest of your day back.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you,
Larry. Thank you for joining me, man. You're welcome back anytime. In fact, if any of my Shiloh brothers are watching right now, you guys are welcome too. Just DM me if you guys want to be on the podcast. You guys want to tell the people what you know about me. Go ahead. Just DM me. We can set this up. We can talk about our times, or we could talk about our sailor days. I love talking about back when we were sailors. In fact, I made a TikTok about this before this episode drops, about how when I was growing up, my dad was a sailor and he had all of his old man Navy Sea stories. And growing up, I was like, man, I want old man Navy Sea stories of my own. Well, after high school, I got the opportunity, and here we are. Look at this. Here we are today. All right, guys, that's all I have this week. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you guys haven't done so, drop a comment, your favorite comment or your favorite emoji. You know what I mean. Favorite emoji. Doesn't really matter. It helps us out in the algorithm. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I have Rule 0 stickers now. Rule 0 stickers. And if you guys like these designs, are also available as t-shirts, mugs, hoodies at merch.comeonmanpod.com. Check out the Law of Attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's a mindset course, and once you get your mind right, everything else falls into place. check out the beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of like-minded men. And once a month we get together, have drinks, and just talk about guy stuff. It's a great place for our mental health, because men need other men. You know what I mean? And then if you want any kind of coaching, go to gumroad.comeonmanpod.com, and you can check out all of my options, not just the coaching, but everything's available on Gumroad now. And I love Gumroad. It's just a simple platform that makes everything easier to do. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm on it. Anyways, go to gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. Check that out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys Wednesday for the live stream.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. New full episodes served hot every Monday morning on your favorite podcast platform of choice. So subscribe now. Follow Paul on social media. The links are in the description. Now, go out and get it.